thoughts of Mike Steph, this marks a new beginning. Thanks for supporting a total reinvention. The soul is still here, but the vibe's a little different. Unpredictable, hot the kids and the women. Sports of all sorts, music mixed for living. Rep New York City, but ain't the politician. Always bring the heat, Steph baking in the kitchen. Big shout to y'all, I appreciate the listen. Donnie put the rest, but I'm still in the best in the world of what I do. All y'all know the rest.
What up, people? I said, what up, people? Welcome to a brand new full-length edition of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast, featuring the one, the only Mike Steph, best in the world at what he does. Yes, aka for this week at least, George Jetson, because my fingers are so tired from pushing buttons all day. And I got Jane, his wife. Anyway, this intro is going to be very short because I'm actually going to get right down to business. I have a lot of things that I need to get off my chest personally. I have a lot of things that I want to explain to the dozens and dozens of Mike Steph listeners and watchers and viewers and fans. And I just have a lot of things that I need to talk about on this first iteration, this first edition of the Mike Steph podcast since my long and lengthy sabbatical, if you will. But because I am a man that gives the masses exactly what they need, what they want, what they want to see, what they want to hear, first and foremost, I'm going to get straight to the news, all the news that you can use with all my salty views. And then toward the end of the episode, I will go on my soliloquy, if you will, about exactly why I've taken this sabbatical, perhaps, or more or less just how I've been feeling over the last 4 and some change weeks. So what's on deck this week is the following. First and foremost, we're going to talk about the New York Knickerbockers in their blockbuster trade over the weekend, trading JULIUS Randle and DONTE DIVINCEZO to the Minnesota Timberwolves for their all-star center, KARL Anthony Towns. A lot of ramifications that come to this. Is this one of the moves that puts us on the precipice of a championship? Only one way to find out how I feel, and that's to tune in. Then after we tackle the NBA, after we tackle the New York Knickerbockers, we're going to stay in the city of Gotham, but we're going to go on the political front. Yeah, trust and believe. I got a lot of things I need to say about politics as a whole and what might have happened in the last 4 weeks, but neither here nor there. What happened in the last week or so is Mayor Adams, New York City Mayor Eric Adams, has been indicted by the feds. The feds. And you know, when the feds come, they only come when it's pretty much guaranteed that they're going to lock your black ass up. So I'm going to talk about that. And then last but not least, and actually a topic that I wasn't intending on talking about, but being the fact that it happened today, being the fact that I kind of teased it last night, which is crazy because I done did like 4 episodes in 3 days, but neither here nor there. The New York Metropolitans punched their ticket to the postseason in dramatic fashion against our arch nemesis, the Atlanta Braves. And to tell you the truth, it's actually really just an excuse for me to get some picks off that I've been holding the cut. But did I say that? Oops, did I say that? Let me just say, the New York Metropolitans are in the playoffs, and the Atlanta Braves are in the playoffs due to a doubleheader that happened today. But the first and foremost, the more important part was the Mets part. After the Braves, they got in, and this is for one person in particular that you will see at the end of this episode, not live in living color, but proverbial thorn in my side. This is for that individual, and that is this. Roll Tide. Yeah, I'm back 500 miles away. You can't touch me at least until next summer. So how about that? So that's what's on deck this week. As I said in my audio only editions, in my audio only episodes, I was dipping my toe into the water to see if I could acclimate myself to the temperature. I was putting on, a pair of pants that I haven't put on in a while just to see how they fit. And the more comfortable I got, the more my decision became easier and easier and easier. But like I said, that's to be determined. That's to be announced later on at the end of this episode. So without further ado, let's get this episode on the road. Huh? Good night. And goodbye. Bye. As I said in the intro, this past weekend, a blockbuster trade happened between the New York Knickerbockers and the Minnesota Timberwolves, in which the New York Knicks shipped all-star, all-NBA forward Julius Randle, someone who actually was a catalyst in our return to prominence in the Mecca, in the Big Apple. We shipped Julius Randle and DONTE DIVINCEZO 1/4 of the Villanova Knicks to Minnesota for multi-time all-star center called Anthony Towns. And it's kind of bittersweet in a lot of ways. It just is. Hopefully this won't be one of the moves that you can say, well, it was one move too much, but we've been holding a lot of chips in our hand, in our coffers for the last couple of years. And shoot, since the beginning of this calendar year, we've had 3 trades. And we had a trade for OG Anunoby, in which we gave up quickly. We gave up RJ Barrett to the Raptors. Then we had another trade at the beginning of the offseason for Mikal Bridges, who actually brought the Nova Knicks full circle, full center. And then this trade. And to tell you the truth, as far as comparing the big 3 of trades concerning the Knicks over the last year, I have to say that this one has to rank number 2 in order. Yeah, I know. I mean, you're probably like, huh? I mean, it's definitely above the first blockbuster, in which we received OG Anunoby. Yeah. Now, should we maintain the trust that Knicks president Leon Rose has garnered in his time here, in his last couple years here, especially since the acquisition of Jalen Brunson 2 years ago? I mean, sometimes you have to shake things up. Sometimes you have to rattle the comfort zone to take the next step. And like I said, I'll reiterate, that was done last December in sending RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly to Toronto, an important OG Anunoby. There was an instant reaction amongst the fan base, an instant reaction amongst much of the faithful and diehards. And they had a little sadness back then, believe it or not. I know it seems so far ago, far away, far back. They watched, we watched RJ and Quickly grow up here. Even though, the times we got into the postseason, they really didn't show improve. I mean, RJ was a little bit better in his second appearance, but Quickly, for as much of the 6th man of the year that he was, that spark plug on the bench, that spark plug got doused with water in the postseason because he was nowhere to be found. But I digress. People wanted to know at that time, the Knicks had been winning without them. Was it really necessary? to shake up the mix, especially with Jalen Brunson showing improving his first full year in the Knicks uniform. Okay. Now we go to the next trade. And that was the trade with the Brooklyn Nets for Mikal Bridges. Going all in. Going all in and finally cashing in all the trade chips that we had. All the trade chips that we had that had been accumulated for in all these situations, for situations just like the one in which we cashed it in for. Not only, like I said, not only did we have the long-awaited union of the Nova Knicks, but basketball-wise, it made sense. Now, once this happened, once that trade happened, everybody was trying to scramble and trying to figure out what's the next domino to fall. What's the next domino to fall? Like, Julius Randle was probably going to be the odd man out. Going into a contract year and coming off an injury and coming off not one, but two subpar postseason performances, was he not only going to have to integrate himself with the newer parts of the season for a full season, not only was he going to have extension talks in the back of his mind consistently, he was probably going to have to be asked. Well, matter of fact, he was going to be asked to play out of position to appease the team due to the lack of center depth, due to Mitchell Robinson being out until January at the earliest due to injury by that bitch-ass Joel Embiid, and the loss in free agency of Isaiah Hartenstein. Randle was hugely responsible for the reemergence of the Knicks as a formidable basketball team, as a formidable playoff team after years in the doldrums. In an odd way, it's kind of apropos, if you think about it, that Julius Randle and Karl Anthony Towns were traded for one another. Karl Anthony Towns is a flawed all-star caliber player. Matter of fact, former all-star. The same way, in a lot of ways, that Julius Randle was flawed, but also an all-star player. Leon Rose decided to pull the trigger, knowing that it would certainly cause some mourning amongst the Villanova crew. And Randle, who like Hat, is a Kentucky man with an inside-out game and a history of collecting critics and critiques along the way. Randle was an import of the prior Knicks administration. Don't forget that. But he took to Tom Thibodeau's system instantly and had his best years under Thibodeau. Had his best years here, period. Julius Randle is responsible as anyone for ending the endless wave of misery throughout a quarter century deep. Karl Anthony Towns has long been viewed as a potential final puzzle piece for these Knicks, especially because of the strong relationship he has with Leon Rose, and because, at least at his best, he's been a dynamic player, especially from long range. But lately, especially this past season, remember, he was the cornerstone, the marquee player upon his arrival in Minnesota, but no longer was that the case. Not with the emergence of Anthony Edwards. And during the playoffs, he was unfortunately exposed on both sides of the floor. Now, for 4 seasons, Thibodeau has coached the Knicks. Thibodeau has installed a rim-protecting center who operates near the basket and doesn't have to handle the ball for more than 2 or 3 seconds at a time. At the most. I mean, throughout his tenure here, we've had Mitchell Robinson, Nerlens Noel, and Isaiah Hartenstein, who made a combined total of 9 3-pointers over the last 4 years. They also mainly cleaned up the glass, cleaned up the offensive glass, and deterred the opposition from driving the ball inside the lane. Now, Karl Anthony Towns doesn't really do all that stuff. He doesn't really get his hands dirty. He's not even down for the nitty-gritty. In fact, you remember when the T-Wolves had to acquire another center in the name of Rudy Gobert just to do all that dirty stuff? Yeah, I remember that. And remember how it didn't really work until Karl Anthony Towns. Well, Karl Anthony Towns, not even begrudgingly, but definitely loved getting out that paint and floating further and further away from the paint and camping out on that three-point line. And to his credit, he has become an elite three-point shooter, not just for a big man, just in general at which go for all-around player. I mean, at all positions. Tell you the truth, perhaps the best three-point shooter ever as a 7-footer. His ability to spread the floor was why it was said that members of the Knicks organization felt that Towns was a better fit along Jalen Brunson than Julius Randle, sources have said. Now, there was a sense that with Randle, who requires the ball in isolation to score, and dribble, spin, strip, dribble, you know, all those isolation failures would hold back Brunson, also an isolation player, rather than enhance Brunson's game. Now, people have to realize, with that statement coming from the Knicks brass, that it makes sense. It makes sense. Like, if you're going to give the keys to the franchise to Brunson, which they clearly have, 2 times. They gave him the bag, and then they gave him a bigger bag in this last offseason in preparation for the biggest bag in a couple years from here. If you're going to do all that, you got to make sure that he is the first number 1 priority going forward, period. So you can't really blame them for that. What I'm afraid of is coming up. Now, I don't know if this is coming from the Knicks camp. I don't know if this is coming from neutral observers, but I read that Donte DiVincenzo allegedly did not like the idea of a reduced role coming into this season. He was told he was going to have to come off the bench. And after coming off a career year in which he averaged like 19 points a game, he wasn't trying to hear that, according to Ian Begley of SNY. And especially in the playoffs when he's pretty much trying to lock down the best best offensive player on the opposing team. He's playing out of position. He was guarding Miles Turner at times in that semifinal matchup. And he was asked to play 48 minutes on consecutive, matter of fact, back-to-back games without a problem. He's also the holder of the record of most three-pointers made by a Knick in one season. So you can understand why Donte wasn't really trying to hear, yo, fuck you mean I'm coming off the bench? That was almost like, wait, I'm not comparing the two, but it was almost like, remember when Melo went out to OKC and it wasn't meshing as well as they thought it was going to mesh? And I think Billy Donovan asked Melo to come off the bench, or should I say, Melo was asked in that infamous press conference. We're hearing that, that you might be open to coming off the bench. And remember, Melo was like, yo, Pete, yo, you hear this nigga? Yo, Pete. He talk about, yo, I put up the big Pete. Yo, you hear that? Fuck out of here. Donte, without the N-word, probably was like, yo, Jay, yo, Hart, yo, McCall, yo, these motherfuckers want me to come with the bench. Only when Donte probably said it, he had 3 people looking back at him like, all right, what's the problem? Especially Josh Hart. Josh Hart probably like, all right, so what's the problem? You know what I mean? You know how many times I've had to come off the bench? You know how many times? I mean, shoot, I pretty much tore my chest up playing 48 minutes per night, playing power forward. You hear me complaining? Also, and this is something I'll give credit where credit is due, even though a lot of his talking points sometimes I'm like, yeah, he's just a troll for troll's sake. Gilbert Arenas said in one of his videos over the weekend that he saw this coming because when someone gets that shine, when someone gets the taste of being a starter, taste of getting those main minutes, and then they're pushed down the line, pushed down the pecking order, and they talk about, yo, all right, I know you was getting like 30, 35 minutes last year. Guess what? We only got like 17 for you. Especially going into a walk year. All right, yeah, that 19.1 you was averaging last year. Guess what? Unless you're gonna be Ultra Chuck, he's not gonna be able to get those 19 points per game. And guess what? When it comes down to contract negotiations, all right, well, he's gonna be paid as a player that gets 15 minutes off the bench, as opposed to a main cog, a second scoring option that he was during the absence of the walking wounded of the New York Knicks. So, in a roundabout way, Donte probably is not crying too many tears because he's like, all right, at the end of the day, I'm going to Minnesota. They're going to give me the rock. I'm going to be able to maybe be the third scorer. I'm probably not going to be asked to come off the bench. And I can really rock. With the Knicks, especially if he would have stayed, if let's say this trade didn't happen, you have JB. You know he's getting his touches. You have Mikal Bridges. They didn't give up the farm for Mikal Bridges not to get his touches. Julius Randle's going to make sure by hook or crook he was going to get his touches. That's 3 right there. You think they're paying OG $200 million for OG not to hit a couple corner threes at his own will? OG showed you before he got hurt that if he's asked, here and there to take on an offensive load, he's more than capable. And trust and believe, like I said, they didn't give him $200 million just to play D. So that's 4 people right there down the pecking order. You got to get yours off the bench. Josh Hart is going to be coming off the bench. Was going to be coming off the bench. He's still coming off the bench. You have no problem with that. But if you come off the bench gunning, not really being into the team concept because you're worried about your numbers, because at the end of the day, you got to look at it. If everything would have stayed the same, the dynamic would have been nasty. As much as we believe that the chemistry was strong or would have stayed strong, there would have been frays in the chemistry due to this dynamic. JB, Jalen Brunson already got his bag. OG just got his bag. Mikal Bridges, he's going to get his bag. That's 3 right there. Now you got Jules coming in. He got a player option, but he's not trying to really go into that player option. He wants a long length tail. Donte trying to come up. He's going to want more money than he got by this show and improve it deal that he had. Was it going to be cohesive? Because you got a classic problem of the have and the have-nots. Karl Anthony Towns comes in on the second year of his mega max, his super max. He ain't worried about all that. Now, this is what it boils down to my worries. And all my old head Knicks fans, even though the caliber of player is way different, this is what I'm worried about. Remember in 94? Remember when we got Charles Smith in the offseason and the whole thing was, all right, we got a big man that could bang down low, take some of the pressure off Pat, and he's coming from the Clippers. I think he was averaging like close to 20 points a game. He was an all-star in LA. And then he came to New York and we realized, his skirt was showing. Remember, matter of fact, 93. Remember, he was the motherfucker in game 5 that had numerous attempts to get that ball, and he got smacked down. Not once, not twice, not 3, 4 times to my recollection. So, just saying, he showed that he didn't have the heart for New York. He showed he didn't have the heart for the city. I'm sorry, I had to pause this for a minute. The tribal princess called, and everything goes on hold when it comes to my grands. Everything goes on hold when it comes to my boys. Anything goes on hold when it comes to my tribal princesses. So one of my tribal princesses called, and I had to, press the pause button. To neither here nor there. This picture that you're seeing for all my YouTube viewers, yeah, it's blurry, but you get the gist. That was soft ass Charles Smith, 1993, surrounded by bulls. Unable to get a shot off. It's another one. Surrounded by bulls. Getting fouled, hacked. But he couldn't muscle up. And that's my fear when acquiring Karl Anthony Towns, is the fact that a situation like that arises and he allows himself to get bullied. He allows himself to get punked. He allows himself to get moved around by the likes of bitch ass Joel Embiid, by pencil thin front runner Kristaps Porzingis. And now I have heard that one of the things that actually is in the positive column with acquiring Big Cat is now he's a better fit for Brunson because it opens up the paint. When you had Randle was gonna, he shoot his threes, but he needs to get his touches, he needs to get his drives. He's not really a catch and shoot. Karl Anthony Towns is a catch and shoot player, can be a catch and shoot player, has high efficiency as a catch and shoot player. Also, being the fact that he's 40% from downtown, you have to respect that. You draw out an Embiid, you draw out a Kristaps, you draw out, if by chance we get to a matchup between us and Denver, you draw out Jokic, and you allow the number 1 scoring guard in the paint in the league to operate in his domain without it clashing. So, like I said, I can't really blame them for the move. Are we short depth-wise? Yeah. Is there another move coming? Probably. Who is it going to be? I don't know. But if you think about it, we got the rookie Volek coming off the bench. I believe he's going to be in the same mold as a Jalen Brunson, as, you look at him, you think he's unathletic, and he's probably quicker than he seems. He's going to be able to run the offense. He's going to allow Deuce McBride to come in off the bench and be a shooting guard, which he really is, a natural shooting guard. We really going to need another wing probably to come off the bench. Precious Achua, he's going to be able to come off the bench, and he's not going to really be forced to play main minutes at the center position. At least once Mitchell Robb comes back. So, does this make us better? Begrudgingly, I have to say so. Am I a fan of the move? Was I a fan of the move initially? No, I was not, because my feelings are involved. I just have to hope and trust that the culture that we started to instill with Coach Tibbs, and the baton has been taken from Coach Tibbs and taken to that next echelon, that next level by JB Jalen Brunson. Karl Anthony Towns to be able to assimilate to what we need him for, and we'll be able to show that toughness, that New York toughness that's needed, both on the court and media-wise. Because best believe, if he has some stinkers, can't go hiding. But at the end of the day, he's not our first option. He's not our second option. It's going to be our third option. It's going to be our third option. And maybe the lack of pressure on the court. Yeah, I know everybody's like, look, we traded our all-star, we traded out our heart and soul and DiVincenzo. And listen, as much as I'm a DiVincenzo fan, he's not a heart and soul. Jalen Brunson is our heart and soul. Matter of fact, you want to think about it, Josh Hart really is our heart and soul of this iteration of the New York Knicks. Think about it. As much as I appreciate Julius Randle for doing what he did and coming to the city and taking that mantle that nobody wanted to deal with, we didn't really get appreciatively better until Brunson came along. And then when Josh Hart came and they teamed up, we went from here to here. Now with Bridges, now with Karl Anthony Towns, you go here. And this is one of those type of moves that I should be in favor of, instead of, all right, we got to get one of these old washed up players like Paul George and oh yeah, we got to beg LeBron to come. And listen, we're finished with that. Once again, we have all our main players in the same age range, and they're all going to ascend at the same time. Boston lucked up. Boston lucked up last year. I don't care what y'all say. Dallas was not a good opponent for them. Well, Boston was not a good opponent for Dallas. They got a team that was happy to be there. They got to the finals based on our lack of health. And yes, that's part of the deal. But now, when we go toe-to-toe, 5-on-5, I like our chances. I like our chances a lot. Go New York, go New York, go! Go New York, go New York, go! Well, Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted on federal charges. Yeah. 2 weeks ago, this coming Thursday, nearly a dozen suited up federal agents arrived at Eric Adams' mayoral home, Gracie Mansion, first thing to search his official residence. Just hours after his honor became the first Big Apple mayor to be indicted in a federal probe. The Southern District's top attorney said Mayor Adams was showered with gifts. He made it rain. They made it rain on him with gifts, while repeatedly failing to disclose any of these handouts. Mayor Adams received over $100,000 in gifts from Turkey, largely in undisclosed travel upgrades on Turkish Airlines. The federales allege. Mayor Eric Adams and his staff sneakily took steps to conceal the corruption with Turkey, even as the feds closed in. The indictment reveals. One staffer, who appears to be former City Hall aide Rana Abasova, who was placed on leave from the administration for asking staffers to delete messages, excused herself to the bathroom during an interview with investigators in November 2023. The court paper states. Inside the bathroom, Abasova deleted the encrypted messaging application she had used to communicate with Adams, a Turkish official, an airline manager, and promoter, amongst others, who had been provided undisclosed benefits to the mayor, according to the documents. Mayor Eric Adams also appeared to resort to chicanery when the feds first raided his allies and seized his electronic devices in November 2023. The indictment hints. All this is courtesy of the New York Post. When Adams provided his personal cell phone to the feds after being subpoenaed, the investigators found it was locked and they needed a password to open it. The mayor claimed that he had changed his password the day before to prevent his staff from accidentally or intentionally deleting the phone's contents because, according to Adams, he wished to preserve the contents of his phone due to the investigation, the indictment states. But Adams further claimed he had forgotten the password he had just set and thus was unable to provide the FBI with a password that would unlock the phone. The court papers state. Eric Adams' 2021 campaign raked in $10 million in public matching funds, at least in part due to the illegal contributions traced to Turkey. The indictment contends. He applied for the public matching program for straw donations, getting as much as $2,000 in public funds for each illegal contribution. Mayor Eric Adams already has several Democratic challenges in the upcoming 2025 mayoral race, and more contenders may seize this bombshell indictment as the opportunity to throw their hat in the ring. Adams vowed to keep leading the Big Apple once news of the indictment broke this past Wednesday. And whether he drops his election bid remains to be seen. Many of Adams's political foes, including already announced candidates for the 2025 mayoral election, were amongst the first to call for him to step down. The hardworking people of New York City deserve a city government and leadership that they can trust. Right now, they just don't have it. Lander wrote in a statement. He was joined by fellow liberal, former city comptroller Scott Stringer, who at this point is just exploring a run after a failed bid for mayor in 2021. While the mayor focuses on proving his innocence, the rest of us needs to focus on the business of the city, Stringer said. State Senator Zelna Myrie, a Democrat from Brooklyn, and calling for Adams's resignation, called the news of the indictment especially painful for so many Black New Yorkers who put our hope and faith in this mayor. Side note, I'm sorry. If you're amongst those thousands, matter of fact, dozens and dozens of Black New Yorkers who put their hope and faith And Mayor Adams, you's a damn fool. Did you not see all the red flags that was dripping off him? Did you not see that all of this was going to come crashing and burning in spectacular fashion? Remember, what did he say? He said he's the Joe Biden of New York. He's the Joe Jackson of New York. That New York is the Istanbul of America. That New York is the Gay Paris of America, amongst other asinine statements. You know, Mr. GSD, get shit done. My bad. Get stuff done. Did you not see all this was going to happen? I digress. Myrie was first elected to a central Brooklyn seat in 2018. I'm sorry if that's the line that he's going along. I don't like his chances in this upcoming mayoral election. One of the most intriguing questions presented by Adams's indictment is whether or not it may open the door for ex-governor Andrew Cuomo to see an opening to try to make his long-rumored political comeback. Cuomo's spokesman did not respond to the post this past Wednesday, but political sources have told the New York Post for months that the former governor saw charges against Adams as a green light. Give me that green light. Just give me that green light. I'm ready to go right now. I'm ready to go right now. Give me that green light. Just one night. I'm ready to go right now. I'm ready to go right now. As the green light to get into the race. Cuomo resigned from his third term as governor in 2021 after a barrage of sexual harassment accusations and other scandals, including his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. Yeah, I'm quite sure that little statement is going to get me in trouble. But guess what? I don't give a natural you-know-what. Cuomo continues to deny any wrongdoing. The only person who can forcibly replace this fraud, this sham, this embarrassment from office is another fraud, sham, embarrassment that's currently in office, this time a higher office in the state of New York, and that would be Governor Kathy Hochul, Governor Nurse Jackie, Governor fat, out of shape, glasses wearing woman who rides around in a mystery machine whose name I can't remember. But Smitty from the group home, I'm quite sure if you're watching this, you know exactly who I'm referring to. Put her name down in the comments because right now I got brain lock. But yeah, Governor Hochul is the only one that has the power to take the extraordinary action to remove him from office before his term is up. And in a cryptic statement last week, she said, "Well, you know, it's up to Eric Adams to do the right thing. Do the right thing. Do the right thing." Listen, I'm going to cut to the chase because I think everything I just read from multiple reports and over in the newspapers over the last week and all the media outlets pretty much have spelled out exactly what I've been saying for years. There's a reason why I call him Mayor Benson. And it had nothing to do with the fact that he was a black mayor and Benson was a black governor. It had nothing to do with the corruption that I'm quite sure that I knew without any type of proof, but I just smelt. I smelt it on his skin. I smelt it on its aura. That's one of the things that the young people are saying, right? The aura, right? I smelt it on him. Smelt him on him from jump. Tell you the truth, if you really want to think about it, for the last 11 years, the city of New York have been run by idiots, by bozos, by corrupt politicians who really didn't give a fuck about the constituents in whom they took a vow, took an oath to work for. Both Mayor Adams and his predecessor, Mayor Bozo, de Blasio, Mr. Wilhelm himself, both of them have been embarrassments for the quote-unquote capital of the world. To be mayor of the capital of the world, and this is what we have to deal with. Like, there was last week when he had a press conference, and I'm talking about Mr. Adams. We had a press conference denying his culpability, denying his guilt, and saying that he was going to fight these charges until his very last breath. Excuse me. There were people in the background giving him catcalls. There were people in the background calling him a fucking disgrace. People in the background telling him. Matter of fact, and we're talking about black people. We're talking about the African Americans of this city. We're talking about the people from the hoods that he always claimed. Yeah, I'm from the hood. I grew up from the hood. I know what it is like to be in the hood. Calling him out for his lack of activity of getting anything done. His whole slogan is get stuff done. He hasn't got shit done. But putting coffers in his pocket or putting all his cronies in position of power. And don't get me wrong. Listen, for years and years and years, for generations, tell you the truth, one of the main problems, I would say, in our community, and I'm not talking about Brooklyn, Queens, I'm talking about the black community as a whole, is, for the most part, not taking care of one another, not trying to lift each other up. When somebody gets to that second plateau, you bring them up with you. What's the old term? A rising tide raises all boats? Some shit like that. So that's not what I'm getting at. That's not what I'm pissed off at him, because by all means, but do it on the up and up, but also do it for the betterment. Not do it for your selfish reasons, for your selfish end games. Not, all right, pretty much have your line of cronies in a row, your ducks in a row, so y'all can pretty much take up as much as y'all possibly can with the position. Like, I was having a conversation with Mrs. Ooh, my lovely wife, about, and this is going to be controversial, but listen, I took 4 weeks off. You really think I'll give a fuck about being controversial right now? Okay. One of the bad things that happens when it comes to us is when we get a position of power, a position of authority, a position of influence, per se, right? It could be a menial job as a caseworker for fucking welfare. And your job is literally your job. Okay, you're looking over this case. Let's say that food stamps were, at this point in time, that SNAP benefits got discontinued due to a clerical snafu that came down. It's not your job to talk down to people. All right, you got that job. Money ain't coming out your pocket. You're not the HNIC of the fucking office. You understand what I'm saying? There's no reason to talk down to the people that you're obligated to help. I'm not saying give them a handout, but at the same time, if they're in a position of vulnerability, it's not your job. Matter of fact, whether it's your job or not, it's not your place, morally or work-wise, to talk down to them. Because at the end of the day, you got a boss. At the end of the day, you're a paper pusher. You shouldn't say, well, because I've got this secured city job, that, all right, this person that got 4 kids and pretty much is living off the city, living off the benefits that they receive from the city, because right now they're in between jobs. Right now they can't make ends meet. It's not your job to make that person pretty much beg for the fucking benefits that they're entitled to. We can go further and further. We can go to, let's say, the day-to-day machinations in an office. You get a new employee that comes into the office, and okay, they might not be as experienced as you, but they're hardworking, they're intuitive, they're really trying to learn all aspects of said job. And you're tasked with showing them various aspects of said job. But because you have this mentality of there can only be one, like you're a fucking Outlander or something. Y'all know what I'm trying to get at. There can only be one. Highlander. Yeah, that's it, right? You know, there can only be one. Anyway, y'all know what I'm talking about. You're like, you know what? I'm only going to ask them to help me with the menial task of the job. But anything that can actually help them progress and perhaps be on the same level as me, so therefore we can raise that tide together. No. There can only be one. We could even go down the line with fucking city jobs. I'll tell you, without telling too much, those who know, those who don't, figure it out. My job that I just recently made 21 years on, right? You know, my first interaction with the employee of my job was the following. I came in to do my final paperwork, and pretty much everything is to go. I just got to wait for my training, right? So I come up on the 4th, 5th, 6th floor, and I come in, and I'm like, yeah, hello, you know, my name's Michael Steffens. You know, I was here. I was called yesterday to do my final processing. You know, so who do I have to speak to? You were supposed to be here at 9 o'clock. What happened? You come in here for 12:30 noon. Everybody been processed already. Unfortunately, it was a sister. And I don't cast no aspersions to it. Look, one bad apple don't spoil the batch. But listen, I'm going to continue. So I'm like, listen, since the time that I started the process, and 3 months later to now that I'm getting called, y'all changed locations. One location was in Manhattan. Now this next location is in Brooklyn. They gave me this piece of paper from Manhattan to give y'all to let you know that I got there because I was, and they let me know. Oh yeah, they don't work here right now. Or matter of fact, they're not based here right now. You have to go to the new base. So I got here between 9 and 12. The window was 9 and 12. Nobody reached out to me to let me know there was a new location. Shoot. Let me see if they're going to take you, because, like I said, they processed everybody already. Yeah, we got somebody coming talking about he went to Manhattan. Yeah. His name is, what's your name? It's Michael Steffens. Yeah, Mr. Steffens is here. You got him on the list. Okay, I let him know. You lucky. They said they're gonna take care of you after lunch. You lucky. You can have a seat. When I say I was about this close to saying fuck you and turning around and say, you know what? I'll go back to being a supervisor, barista, or some shit. Cause I don't got time to deal with this shit. This is what the fuck I'm looking toward 28 years of? This fucking attitude? Like, you did me a favor? Your job is to take my information and forward it. You're not, I'm lucky because you picked up the phone to do your fucking job. I'm lucky because, oh my God, I got this pristine job. Listen, don't get me wrong. 21 years is done wonders for me. It's helped me raise my kids. It's helped me take care of my family. So I'm not begrudging that, and I'm grateful. I'm not grateful to her, but that was that mentality of not even they can only be one. It was just like, hey, shoot, I got the job. You trying to get the job? Guess what? I'm better than you. I say all that to say this. If anything Mayor Adams is guilty of, it's the fact that you're the second black mayor of New York City. The first with David Dinkins. David Dinkins might have had a lot of warts, but he never was in no corruption. I met David Dinkins years ago. Matter of fact, I was in 9th grade. He introduced the tennis program to the schools of New York City. The PSAL. Because he was a tennis enthusiast. He had a banquet at the end of the year, of course, touting his initiative, and also everybody who contested, everybody who participated in the program was invited to the banquet. And this was, at this time, he was already out of the office. I think Giuliani had already been sworn in. Something he didn't have to do. But he was like, look, this is another opportunity, another avenue to say, all right, fine. This is before the rise of Venus and Serena. This is before, matter of fact, technically he was French, Yannick Noah, but still, that's the only black dude I knew that played tennis back in the days in the 80s. Yannick Noah from France. I mean, shoot, with my attitude and my temper, people used to call me the Black John McEnroe. And tell you the truth, if I didn't allow myself to be a little bit intimidated and not really have more faith in myself that I could actually contend in high school, who knows? Maybe I could have been the Black Pete Sampras. Or matter of fact, how about this? Maybe I could have been the first Mike Steph. But that's neither here nor there. Like I said, the one thing, if there is one thing that Mayor Adams is guilty of, he's guilty of actually proving me right. He's guilty of being a caricature of what those people perceive us to be if we got into such a position of influence, such a position of power, such a position of government, as, yeah, you know those niggas gonna fuck up, right? You know those niggas are not gonna do nothing but just try to steal as much money as you can. That's why, you know what? And I hate to say this, but there is this still mentality out here. The only good nigga out there is a dead nigga. Just saying. Stuff like that. Stuff that he's been accused of just pretty much trying. He's like the dude that goes to a party and they're giving out swag gifts and he's just going to get everything free just because. He's the type of dude that'll go to a Christmas banquet for kids, for struggling families. And even though he's making $100,000 a year, guess what? It's free. Guess what? They're giving out stuff. I'm going to take it anyway. He is the type who, due to his actions, will prevent people after him from getting their just due. Now, there are a lot of young brothers, a lot of brothers that's in the New York City government, city council, so forth, that are on the up and up, brothers and sisters. And hopefully his asinine ways have not tarnished them and got everybody painted with the wry black brush. But I knew it. I knew this was gonna happen. I knew this was gonna happen. It's a damn shame. But I will keep you abreast of what's going on with this indictment because shoot, I've been on it from the beginning. And as a certain someone who I will talk about later, did mention to me, like, you know, this is blockbuster news that came out, and you're not going to touch on it. You're not going to make an appearance. You're not going to sprinkle your salty flakes on it. So those are my 2 cents for now. Oh my God. The New York Mets have made the playoffs. Oh my God. The New York Mets came back on the Braves. Oh my God. Lindor hit a 2-run home run. Oh my God. Diaz has clinched the playoffs. Oh my God. Never has that song been so appropriate. Oh my God. The New York Mets, historic. Matter of fact, I'm going to even say historic. The New York Mets comeback against the Atlanta Braves in the first game of a doubleheader that put them not only in the playoffs, but hopefully put all of the doubters, including myself, to rest. This game, I'm listening. I'm giving a little up. I mean, I'm seeing little updates or whatever. Because we're down 3-0. 3-0, top of the 8th. We was listless. It was almost like we were sleepwalking. It's almost like we was just reticent in our own fate. If that makes sense. I think I used the wrong word, but regardless, I know what I'm talking about. The New York Mets were down 3-0. The top of the 8th, they scored 6 runs. They scored 6 runs to take a 6-3 lead in the top of the 8th. Capped off by Brandon Nemo's 2-run home run. Now in the bottom of the 8th, because the Mets, matter of fact, any of my teams don't deserve good things. The Atlanta Braves surged back ahead with 4 runs of their own in the bottom half, with Ozzie Albies bases loaded double with 2 outs for a 7-6 lead. And you know why it was so hurtful? Because it should have never came to that. Because if Edwin Diaz, who actually is kind of a hero when it comes to this game, if Edwin Diaz would have covered first after a spectacular play by Pete Alonso, the polar bear, then we would have got out that inning. But we didn't. But past iterations of this Met team would have been finished, but not this year's version. Oh my God. The Mets weren't finished. Sterling Marte single with 1 out against Pierce Johnson, and then Francisco MVP Lindor delivered a drive into the Braves bullpen in right center field. Oh my God. Lindor said, I got the pitch that I wanted, and you never know if that ball is going to go out or not. But I felt like I had 100%, got it 100%. And all I kept on saying was, thank you, Jesus. We're one step closer. We got to finish it. Finish. Edwin Diaz earned the win despite the blown save with the season high 40 pitches, despite giving up Ozzie Albies go-ahead hit in the bottom of the 8th, which came after Diaz effed up. Diaz, in between innings, demanded that he return to the mound for the decisive 9th inning. I don't care what you say. I'm going back out there. He recalled telling manager Carlos Mendoza, Mindy, as those close to him like to call him. The Braves had the potential tying run at second base in the bottom of the 9th, but Diaz struck out Ramon Laureano and retired former New York Met catcher Travis D'Arnaud on the ground of the shortstop. Do you know this interesting stat? The New York Mets, had lost 77 straight games when trailing by 3 runs in the 8th inning or later since May 17th, 2023, which happened to be May 17th, that is, my mother's birthday. Diaz slammed his glove to the ground, and the Mets celebrated briefly behind the mound after becoming their 11th postseason berth in 63 seasons. Ugh, that's not a great percentage, but our first since 2022. Mets owner Steve Cohen posted on X, on Twitter. Have you ever seen a game like that? Have you ever seen a game like that? Have you ever seen a win like that? I bet y'all motherfuckers haven't. I bet y'all motherfuckers haven't. Albies a switch hitter who can only bat right-handed while dealing with lingering pain, hit a 2-run home run in the 3rd and a bases clearing double off the wall in the 8th inning. When I say I don't like this Albies motherfucker, I mean because during an excursion down to the dirty, I saw this mother effer live and in color do his damage. And needless to say, I was pissed off. But no longer should I be pissed off because the Mets won. The Mets won. The Mets won. Let's go Mets. Let's go Mets. Let's go Mets. The Masons. The Masons. Yeah. I'm going to once again disprove all group chat etiquette by reading the following that was posted in our group chats. The group chat with me, Smitty from the group home in Bergen Beach, and the brothers Al. And it was the following. Wow. Roller coaster of emotions. Smitty from the group home in Bergen Beach. Let's go! Oh my God! You know the Mets won, right? You know the Mets in the playoffs, right? Yes. I'm talking to my son Mikey, Chef Mix, if you will, who just woke up. More than likely, because I probably woke him up. Okay, yeah. So yeah, Mets won. Then I wrote back, I'm so happy to be wrong. They really earned it. Are the demons buried? Have we solved the Atlanta curse? Brother Al said the following: don't speak too early. Don't jinx it. In which I replied,
Listen. It's not too early for nothing. This is the only thing I wanted was to get to the playoffs. That's it. We get swept. I ain't mad. As long as we didn't allow Atlanta to bump us out the playoffs, that's all I need. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's all I need. That's why I said I've never been so happy to be wrong in my life. Especially the way they just won. They were dead for 8 innings. They came back, scored 6 in the top of the 8, and then gave up 4 runs in the bottom of the 8. And then Francisco Lindor, MVP, hits the home run to literally put us in the playoffs, and then Diaz comes in clutch. No such thing as jinx. That's it. I'm happy. I'm satisfied. And I'm so happy and I'm satisfied that I'm gonna go and actually add on. Matter of fact, you know what? Y'all can listen and watch later on when I drop it. But it was just beautiful. It's beautiful. When I say I don't even hardly have no voice right now, with this tear in my eye.
Yeah. Brother Zal, he responded, don't tell Smitty that. Don't get too emotional, Smitty. Smitty gonna have something to say. And of course, Smitty was like, you gotta believe. I told you gotta believe. And say the truth, he was right. Y'all fell off the cliff months ago. Whoa. Listen, I got this as visual proof, audio proof, if you will, of my ups and my downs. My ups and my downs. My ups and my downs when it comes to this team. And then, do you know what Brother Zal said? Yeah, he put the clown emoji. Wow. Like, I'm sorry. That might have been a road too far, but I continue.
Listen, I will say this. You could say I fell off the cliff, and then I climbed back on the cliff, and then I fell down the cliff, and then I fell back on the cliff. Then I climbed back up the cliff, then I fell back down the cliff. I've been hanging off the cliff. Yes, I know, I get it. Listen, it's been a roller coaster ride. It's been a roller coaster season. It's gone from a season of no expectations to damn near the best team in the league. It's been a roller coaster week. I went down there. When I say I felt like they were dead Tuesday night, to actually see up close the horrors of Atlanta, to hear all these racist fans do the tomahawk chop, to have my brother-in-law pour salt in my wound, and then to watch some of this game and be down 3-0, and then up and down. I'm not even taking my blood pressure because I know it's out of whack. Especially after I had yesterday in the rain, in the dreck of MetLife Stadium, JetLife Stadium. Listen. Had a hard time. It's all right.
It is all right. It's all right. You heard me? It's all right. Holla back. Hallelujah, holla back. Or was it holla back, hallelujah? I think it was hallelujah, holla back. John Brown. What was he, King of the Burbs? Those who know, I'm not even going to give you any references. No, it was just a beautiful game. It was a beautiful day. Could you be greedy and say, yeah, I wish we was able to bump Atlanta out the playoffs? Yeah. Could be greedy, but no need for that. Everything, I'm more concerned. I'm only concerned with the New York Mets making it. Now, I got a couple photos to show y'all. photo number 1. That's me and my brother, Low Fat Beats. You know, who's ecstatic because his Braves won, and he's actually happy for me for the fact that the Mets actually made it, and you know, so both of us made it. Another one, you know, as you can tell, he was gloating, and I wasn't really happy about that one, but it was all good. It was all good. And now, this was a video from. Matter of fact, I'm going to show y'all a video from my excursion that perfectly encapsulated my feeling less than a week ago.
Let's go! Let's go!
Yeah, but this one actually is funnier.
We know. Hey, get the phone. Let's go, Birds! Y'all say, let's go, Birds! Y'all say, let's go, Birds! Y'all ready? We gonna try it one more time. Hey! Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Come on, guys. 1, 2, ready! Let's go, Birds! 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 Let's go, Birds!
You see how homeboy just real slightly just moved a little bit away from me, like, I don't want this heat. Yeah, I got caught out, but it was all good fun. I will say the people down there, for the most part, you know, they did show that Southern hospitality. You know, it was all in good fun. You know, they needled me. But for the most part, like I said, it was great. It was a great atmosphere. There was a lot of fellow Mets fans there, but just for it to come full circle and for us to hopefully exercise all the demons from years, decades and decades and decades of failures, from Fulton County Stadium to Turner Field, now the Truist Park. Hopefully this is just a taste to come. But you know, I would truly say that I'm not even mad. Matter of fact, I won't even be mad. Will I be disappointed? Yeah. So what? But listen, we made the playoffs. As long as it wasn't Atlanta who bumped us out the playoffs, that's all I was concerned about. I just didn't want Atlanta to bump us out the playoffs. Now that we're in the playoffs, we're in the wild card, and we're gonna go to. I think we're going to San Diego. No, matter of fact, I think we're going to San Diego. Matter of fact, let me look real quick. No, we go back to Milwaukee. That's right. So we're the number 6. So we go back to Milwaukee, where we just lost a weekend series. And that begins, guess what? 24 hours. So after they done bust our ass and almost pushed us out the playoffs, and to tell you the truth, I ain't gonna lie, only reason we had a slim glimmer, I hope, was that they just didn't want to use their players on Sunday. Now we go back to Milwaukee for a 2 out of 3 game set and see what we could do. But listen, doesn't really matter. Everything is cake because we wasn't supposed to make the playoffs. We wasn't supposed to be in contention. So for us to actually make the playoffs and win 89 games in a quote unquote gap year, can't really be mad. Can't really be mad. So salute to the Mets. Salute to Francisco Lindor. Salute to this year, especially the players that were on that debacle in 2022. Salute to them to get the monkey off the back, and hopefully, that noose that was slowly tightening around their neck, because you can't tell me they wasn't tight over the last week. Hopefully it's loosened up and we could just go to Milwaukee and play free with actually no pressure whatsoever. Because tell you the truth, the worst already happened. The worst already happened, as in we avoided it. So yeah. Oh my! You know, there was a song that passed by me. It's older song now, but just great. As you hear that in the background, that's my son. Do. Anyway, there was a song that came past me, and I thought it was very, very apropos to how I was feeling when I took my self-imposed sabbatical. And it's from a source that trust and believe I wouldn't listen to on a daily basis, but it just came on. I was like, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. That hits me. So I'm just going to read it. I'm not going to sing it. I'm going to read it. We were good. We were gold. Kind of dream that can't be sold. We were right till we weren't. Built the home and watched it burn. I don't want to leave you. I don't want to lie. Started to cry, but then remembered I can buy myself flowers. I could write my name in the sand. Talk to myself for hours. Say things you don't understand. I could take myself dancing and I can hold my own hand. Yeah, I can love me better than you can. Now, yes, I know that's a love song or a song about relationships. But me in this podcast, I would say over the last 5 years, this is my relationship with my podcast. There's sometimes that I feel like I can't live without it. And there's sometimes that I need to take a break. There's sometimes that I feel like it doesn't appreciate me. And then there's sometimes that I feel like that in the past, I didn't appreciate it. I say all that to say this. Mr. McDowell, that's the gentleman I was referring to when I said someone said, well, this is going on, with Mayor Benson and the Knicks and all these blockbuster announcements, blockbuster news, and where people are ready to hear your views. I'll take one better, and I will withhold the name because at the same time I don't want to put their business too much out there. But someone close to me, family member, may or may not, but someone close to me said that they heard a song from my EP, and number one, they didn't realize I was going through whatever I was going through at the time or what I was writing in that EP. But more importantly, that they listened to the EP, they listened to the song, and that encouraged them to make changes in their lifestyle, make changes in their day to day. Different situation, but still same nevertheless. And those two situations, one saying about that they heard something and and they drew inspiration from it, and someone saying that they were looking forward and they appreciated what I do bring to this platform, no matter how widely spread, no matter how popular, no matter how densely packed in this cluttered space that we call podcasting, that we call YouTube or what have you. And those things struck to me. Now, I'm not gonna lie. As I said in my audio only versions, the last couple of weeks, I still haven't decided whether I'm going to continue the video aspect of the Social Thoughts of Mike Steph. StreamYard wants $45, and I don't know if it's worth me coming out my pocket $45 a month to continue the video aspect. But I will say half of that equation, I believe, has been answered over the last week. And the fact that I still have that, I scratch my itch. I still feel that maybe not on a continuous basis, maybe not on a basis of, oh my God, I have to get it in, but I have things that I want to come across. That there's issues I want to speak on. Whether or not it's received, at the end of the day, I had to remind myself that it doesn't really matter. It matters on what I feel. If people don't receive it, or people don't want to receive it, or people just don't want to tune it out, that's their prerogative. Had nothing to do with me. What has something to do with me is whether or not I still have the hunger, still have the will, still have the feeling, or whether or not I want to do this. To go further before I wrap this up, I was watching the good brothers from Gimmick Infringement, Winchester and McDowell, and their past episode, well, this their episode, the newest episode this past week, and they started off the episode with their gratitude segment. Sometimes it's at the end, sometimes in the middle, but this week they started it off. And one of the reoccurring themes were telling yourself or allowing yourself to be okay with letting something go. Whether it's a new endeavor, whether it's a learning program, whether it's a class, whether it's a hobby, whether it's anything. Because at the end of the day, if you're not having pleasure, if you're not deriving pleasure from said thing, if you're not really truly invested, if you're just going through the motions, or more or less you're doing what you think people or you feel like you should do, not what you want to do, sometimes it's all right to just let it go. And that's kind of what I have been, I wouldn't say struggling with, but that's what I've been playing with for the last month. I wanted to see exactly how invested I truly am in this here podcast, in this here show, in this here endeavor. Did I miss it? Was I doing it out of habit? Was I doing it for clout? Was I doing it for numbers? Was I doing it for any other reason besides the fact of whether I felt like doing it or not? In their particular situations, they chose, you know what? All right. When this is taking too much time, I'm putting it to the side. If it's important to me, if I love it, it'll come back or I'll go back to it. Oh, there's another avenue in which I can get this knowledge instead of putting myself behind the 8 ball and doing XYZ to rob Peter and Paul. Maybe I'll just do something else or take another avenue. And that rang true to me. And for the first time, me personally, and like I said, it's not to cast no aspersions. This is not to even speak out of school, but for the first time in a couple of weeks, because like I said, I don't see these gentlemen. I don't see my brothers in person. I see them on video. I see them in text. I hear them in voice, but it's not in person. It's mostly virtually in many ways. But for the first time in a while, I'll just say that, I saw light. That's all I'm going to espouse on. Because like I said, even though I did break group chat etiquette, in this instance, I'm not going to break group chat etiquette. They know because I told them what I told them. And that's the only thing I'm going to crack over the door is I saw light. And I would personalize this by saying I saw light by seeing the light that I saw actually expose light to myself. So like I said, I don't know how long I'm going to continue doing this. I'm going to do this as long as I feel like doing it, as long as I derive enjoyment from it. And I'm going to do it in a way that it's not going to be a stressor to me. Because at the end of the day, me personally, I don't make no bread off this. This is strictly passion. And if stress causes my passion to wane, then guess what? It's a big waste of my time and yours. So, yeah, So, like I said, I still got about maybe like 2 weeks to decide whether or not I'm going to continue with StreamYard or I'm going to go to another avenue. But at least half the equation is, I'm going to continue doing this. And when that time comes to make a decision, then I guess y'all be the first ones to hear it. Yeah. So, with all that being said, I couldn't get out of here without giving some plugs, right? But I'm gonna make them short and sweet. Hidden Gems Football. Hidden Gems Football, hosted by the Mojo King and myself, Mike Steph. New episodes drop each and every Thursday on the YouTube channel of the 19 Media Group. The last couple of weeks, we've been digging in the crates, or a matter of fact, we've been just playing with a lot of stuff. Trying to figure out, not trying to figure out, but just making the best of the situations. Because I had things I had to attend to. The Mojo King had things to attend to, and we've been breaking them up into like 2 parts. Like give y'all the first part on Wednesday, Thursday. Make sure y'all ready for the Thursday night action, and then give y'all a second part to get ready for the Sunday and Monday night primetime games. And of course, Survivor picks. We actually had a special guest this past week in the Mojo Queen, in which she pretty much emphatically told the masses that we both suck. Do we? I don't know. But so one way to find out whether or not we suck this week, and that's to check out Hidden Gems Football. Available on YouTube and all streaming platforms wherever podcasts are available. And of course, the flagship, the mothership, if you will, the Salty Daughter Mike Step podcast, the audio form is available on the following platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon and Music, amongst others. New episodes drop each and every Wednesday. I should keep on forgetting to say that new episodes drop on Thursday, because I usually don't upload the audio until like late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, but y'all get the gist. Check me out on X at Mike Steph _. Check me out on the gram at Mike _Steph. Check me out on TikTok at Mike Steph _. Cash at me some money. Cash at me some money. $ Donnie Mike. Cash at me some bread. And check out my blog, MikeStephOrg.wordpress.com, for the latest in Mike Steph news, Mike Steph videos, Mike Steph music, Mike Steph verses that'll probably never be recorded, etc. Please check out the following. Yeah, I know I done changed little. But yeah, please check out the following. First, the aforementioned Winchester and McDowell of Gimmick Infringement. And here they go.
And now, podcasting from the sun-scorched desert Southwest, weighing in at a combined total of 340 pounds, Brad Winchester, Tyler McDowell Blanken, are Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blanken. Tyler, it is Money in the Bank weekend.
Okay, the reason I cut that short is because they actually have new graphics, new background, and I kind of dated it by them getting y'all ready for Money in the Bank weekend, which happened a couple months ago. But y'all get the gist. Check out Gimmick Infringement each and every late Sunday night, early Monday morning on all streaming platforms where podcasts available, and on the YouTube channel of the 19 Media Group. Speaking of the 19 Media Group, check out Desmond Powell, Hip to the Games. Here's a little.
Now, you have to pick one hip hop song as a soundtrack for his style of play or his career. What would that song be and why?
Ooh, it's funny. When I was thinking about this episode and thinking about the subject that I was going to choose, because of the era, the 90s, like first song that came to my mind, and tell you the truth, I was going to wear a bucket hat and I changed my mind at the last minute, But the first song that came to my mind was first group that came to my mind was EPMD.
Mm.
And the first song that came to my mind, even though, matter of fact, yeah, this came out right around the time that he started. Now that was a clip of the episode in which I was graceful. Matter of fact, the episode in which Desmond gracefully allowed me to come on his platform to discuss John Starks and my top 5 songs and top 5 groups and artists, hip hop artists of all time, in my opinion, or pretty much my favorite. But if you check out his latest episode of Hip to the Games, Dez is giving an in-depth breakdown on his debut single. That's right, his debut single, One on One, which is he put out 2 songs, and the second one will be broken down by him on his next episode, Kimball Walker. But he put out 2 songs that are beautiful. Like, that's the best way to describe it. Beautiful, inspirational, and as I've told him before, and I've said before, he's truly a great brother, very inspirational brother, and I draw inspiration from him, my damn self. So please check out Hip to the Games, featuring, starring, created by Desmond Powell, and that can be found on the 19 Media Group YouTube page and all streaming platforms where podcasts are available. And last definitely not least, check out Tyler McDowell's solo endeavor for AZ. Here's a peek.
For AZ, I'm your host, Tyler McDowell Blanken, and we are rolling out the yellow carpet once again for another fantastic guest, Trevor Knox. Have you ever met a colleague and right away you just knew you would become fast friends? Well, that was the vibe when I met Trevor about 2 years ago. Trevor comes from a family of Arizona educators. He grew up in Phoenix, ultimately graduating from Arizona State University. He's worked at a community center, served as a secondary history teacher, and currently works at ASU's Teachers College. During this
Tyler's passion for this project, I won't even say project, for this movement that he's not only founding but leading, is truly inspirational in its own right. And I'm so proud of him for what he's accomplishing and what he continues to accomplish in multiple facets of education, leadership, brotherhood, etc. So please check out for AZ. Please check out Gimmick Infringement, and please check out Hip to the Games. All part of my brotherhood. Yeah, y'all thought I was going to say something else, right? See, when y'all think y'all have all the answers, Mike Steph changes the question. So with all that being said, I'm going to get out of here. I will see y'all hopefully next week. And it's going to be so great for me to get back into the swing of things. And yeah, so I will see y'all next week. Take it easy. You got anything to say, Jetty? Got anything to say, Cloudy? Yes, Stitch. I see you up there with the pink hat, but you being on some diddler shit. I don't know. I mean, you got a cat in between your legs? Okay, yeah. I think it's time for you to get out of here. Goodbye.